Yeah, but yes, bafethu namukela Geleza Nathi on a beautiful Tuesday morning, and boy, oh boy, do we have an awesome lineup for you namhlanje. Namhlanje we are discussing an issue that probably many of you have been affected by, water shortages, and we also talk about saving water. The Geleza Nathi tour bus takes a stop at George Corso Secondary School lapha at GP Province. Let's get right into it. Waza uzo Geleza Nathi.
Oh, so Geleza Nathi. You can do it alright, that's right. The future is bright, alright. You can do it alright, that's right. Yeah, future is bright. Hey, 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 hey. Oh, so Geleza Nathi. Geleza Nathi.
Oh, sometimes school bring you down.
Geleza Nathi brings you up, we come around right back up.
Yeah, but yes, bafethu net kanjalo salamukela. Futhi kwesinye isiqephu elisana khulu Geleza Nathi Racha on SABC1 Mzansi for sure. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning, and that can only mean one thing. Physical sciences is what we're doing. Namhlanje kamke usiyabonga wakho la @IMC_G xa ufuna uthetha nami on the Twitter streets. Now njengenjalo ke bafethu siphethe uThobile. How you
Good
doing?
morning, Sia. Yes, guys, igama lami nguThobile and the physical science guru by profession. So I'm trying to bring you guys an interesting lesson on electrostatics. Have you ever asked yourself why you ruler iphakamisa after you rub it against your hair?
Actually, yeah.
So today's lesson is going to be dealing about that.
Kusazobona ngempela bafethu. Hlala phansi unethezeke net kanjalo. Now njengenjalo bafethu, we have our lovely VIPs right here in studio. How are you guys doing?
Fine, and you?
Qale ngawe siswami uba igama lakho ubuya phi njani?
Okay, my name is Veronica Mlema, ngiphuma eSoweto. Ngidume ukudlala netball.
Duma ukudlala netball. Aight, okay, wena mfethu?
Mina nguthiamozwane ngiphuma eSoweto and ngidlala ibhola.
Now udlala ibhola. Okay, nice one. Now Veronica, ngicela uthi kahle kahle wena, what do you do to save water?
When washing like imoto kababa, I don't use hose pipe, but instead I ngithela amanzi ebhakedeni then ngiwash.
Very nice. And wena Thiamo?
Okay, when I brush my teeth, well, I don't leave the tap
Running. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Very, very nice. Bafethu, kusazobona ngempela hlala phansi unethezeke. Now bafethu, now if your question yethu namhlanje sifuna ukwazi like it's kahle kahle, what do you do to save water in your life daily? Hit us up on Facebook and on Twitter, facebook.com/Geleza Nathi @GN_SABC1. With that said, are you guys ready for today's brain breaker?
Bring it on, Sia.
All right, I want to know, is it true or false? Ukuthi South Africa is a water-rich country as it is surrounded by all sea on all sides.
False.
Okay, what do you guys think?
Can I elaborate?
All right.
Because seawater is like 90% salt, isn't it? If I'm not lying.
Yeah.
So, and we cannot do anything, and the human body cannot consume it. So I know we don't have so many water reservoirs around, so I would say that's false.
Well, let's find out if Utobile is actually correct, and the correct answer is false. Now, although South Africa is surrounded by seas, the seawater is salty and largely unconsumable. Occasionally, South Africa imports its water from the Lesotho Mountains when the normal supply is under pressure. Yeah, if I can go.
Yes.
Definitely. Come on, just tell me someone's got Umaraza uspatheleni on the other side of Ijozi.
What you're tuned into right now is the very best in education with a fun twist. Nakjala Van Edutainment has never, ever looked this swag. On SABC1 Monday to Friday is where you'll find me, Kamalama Maraza. Today, we are at George Corso Secondary School at Dobsonville, Soweto. So let's test you to physical science by Yazika Ngaganan. We've got a very fun group of grade 12s. We're going to be playing the puzzle game, trying to see if they can break their fixed patterns. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Someone knows what I did there, but you will soon know what we're going to be doing here. So follow me as we find out what George Corso is patheleni.
Nice one. I excited about mnani ngempela bafethu. Come on, a quick commercial break best boy etolo. We are talking about water conservation. Hlala phansi unethezeke, siyabuya khona manje.
Geleza Nathi. Geleza Nathi.
Welcome back to Geleza Nathi watching SABC1 Mzansi for sure. Namhlanje we are talking about water conservation. Hit us up on Facebook and on Twitter. Now if you're question namhlanje funa ukwazi ukuthi kahle kahle, what do you do to save water in your daily life? Hit us up on Facebook and on Twitter, facebook.com/Geleza Nathi @GN_SABC1, and watch out for your comments right at the bottom of the screen. Joining us this beautiful morning is Ozamani Nyanage from the Water Bank. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Please tell us a little bit more about yourself and the work that you do.
Zamani Nxumalo, that's my name. I'm an executive director in a company called Water Bank Africa.
Right.
And we are a water conservation company, so we come up with all sorts of products that are there to help the government and South Africans to save water.
Nice one. I want to know, why is your field of work so important?
It's important because water is a very scarce commodity right now in the country. We are the 30th driest country in the world, South Africa, and we've just been struck by a huge drought that has affected our economy in a very bad way, if I may say.
Yeah.
So water is very important because we can go without electricity, but there's nothing that we can do without water.
Very true.
So a country that does not have water, geographically speaking, is a country that cannot be able to waste any more water that we do not have. So I'm there to make sure that the country saves water with basically different innovative products that will assist everybody to have as much water as we can.
Nice one. So you like the superhero and you're out there to save the world type of thing. But anyways, I want to know, why is it important for us as young people, or for us as South African citizens, you know, to be able to, or rather be educated in order for us to save water?
It's important because, you know, as young people we grow up with this mentality of water will be there and will be there forever, which is not the case. So every single thing that we do growing up, we've done without really being water conscious.
Yeah.
So now the time has come where we have to be water conscious because we're running out of water. So as young people, it's very important that now at this very young age, we start learning on how to conserve water, because actually stats and a lot of reports actually say that in the next couple of 15, 20 years, water will be really, really scarce.
Yeah.
So the scary part is that it will be so scarce that our future children won't have any water. In other Southern African countries that I've traveled to, there actually isn't water. People are only given water on a Monday. They have to use like 200 liters of water for the whole week. And it only starts hitting you when you're at that country that actually, you know, it's a really, really critical situation that the whole of Southern Africa is in.
Man, this is
So
crazy.
it's more serious than what we actually think.
I see. Speaking of which, I want to know, what are some of the 3 tips that you can give our viewers at home, you know, on how to save water?
Very simple. I think let's just take it home. Domestic, when you're brushing your teeth, we cannot leave the water running on the basin.
Yeah.
You have to brush your teeth, use once-off clothes and do your thing. When you're showering, you cannot be opening hot water for a shower and then go do other things while the water's running down. There's a lot of water that's wasted there. And swimming pools, really, because we are water scarce and there's not enough water right now, swimming pools, we say in our field that they can wait for now, especially because it's winter.
Yeah.
And hose pipe cleaning, there's a lot of people that actually go out with hose pipes and they actually water their pavements. All that type of stuff needs to stop. There's no need to water pavements, especially because we're at this crisis right now. So those are basically the tips that I could give. I could get a bit more into it and say that the war on leaks that the country is facing right now, South Africa is losing 7 billion rands on leaks, infrastructure upgrades. So any leaks that are happening in your house, be it at the toilets, be it anywhere else, you have to make sure you report that and it's sorted out immediately, because we're losing 7 billion rands worth of water going down on leaks. Yeah.
Can I just ask, let's say mhlambe kunomuntu obukelile ekhaya and they'd actually like to study what you're doing. Mhlambe bafuna ukusebenza nawe mhlambe one day. What can they actually study?
Well, the concept with us came from a much more entrepreneurial, it was an entrepreneurial concept. So there's nothing really that I can say people must go study directly, but what I can say is that education is very important. I studied accounting myself, so that required maths, that required English, and yeah, obviously my languages, my maths. And yeah, you just have to make sure that you do well in school, and get the opportunity to actually go study in university, and that's where actually ideas are when you're actually with other young people. So what you study at university, when you want to do business, doesn't really matter that much. Just make sure you get yourself in varsity and you have the access to other young people, because that's actually where a lot of young people cook their ideas, around other young people in the very same space of education. So that's what I could say in relation to what I studied for the sector that I'm in now.
Okay.
Very, very nice. I want to know, where do we get a hold of you on social media? Do you have a website?
Yes, we've got a website, www.waterbank.co.za. That's where you find all the information about our company. We've got also ads that are flying on air. We are on Twitter as well, Waterbank, on Facebook, Waterbank. But a lot of our information you'll find on www.waterbank.co.za.
Nice one. Thank you so much. Right now, though, it's time for us to play Igama Drama. Now here, so when you get Igama, that is all juggled up, and all they have to do is simply unscrabble the word. And they have 30 seconds to do exactly that. Now, Lapika Ngadala on Facebook and on Twitter, and this word was either mentioned by our guest or is topic related. So let's play Igama Drama. Here are your letters. You guys have 30 seconds to unscramble this rather easy word, if I do say so myself. Anyways, here are your letters. R, E, M, O, V, E, N, I, T, N, N. Once again, R, E, M, O, V, E, N, I, T, N, N. 10 more seconds on the clock. I must say, this word is very, very long. Guys, you guys have less than 5 seconds on the clock. 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is up. Now let's see what Tobile and Utolin. Tobile? No paragraph, Tobile. No. Just the correct answer, please.
I think it's environment.
Environment. And what face is that?
Because I don't think all the letters were there, but it seemed right.
All right, let's see what Utolin answers. Swami. Environment. Okay. What did you get? Environment. And what did you get? Environment. Okay, let's see what the correct answer is. And the correct answer is... It is indeed environment. Thank you so much for joining us and all the best for the future. Right now, though, time for a quick commercial break. Best way we get our very first learner question, Untitled.
Geleza Nathi. Geleza Nathi.
Welcome back to Geleza Nathi right here in SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Now, for all you young Mzansi movers and shakers, simpatela competition #, I am active in my school competition. Now, if you're involved in your community or your school and you are changing it for the better, then you are definitely the person we are looking for. All you have to do is take a picture or a video clip rather of yourself doing exactly that change in your school or your community to our Facebook page. And that is facebook.com/Geleza Nathi or on Twitter @GN_SABC1. And who knows, you might just be walking away with this awesome brand new spanking tablet ingaba net eyakho. So wena lapha kahlala phansi unethezeke usithumele zonke ama-entries wakho on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Right now though, let's get our very first learner question for today.
Sure, lapha mfethu ngiphethe umkhaya-ke namhlanje yabo. Crazy 10 is in the building. Sawona wethu.
Yebo,
Kunjani?
ngiyaphila.
Ngi-right wesisi wami. Awutshela abantu lapha ekhaya ukuthi uba wakaba odabu kaphi?
Nguzanelo kaNkabinde, hlala eSnake Park, Extension 4.
Long belly button. Nkaba inde. Okay. Uhlala Snake Park Extension 4 la eDobson.
Snake Park asikho eDobsonville. Snake Park Drongo.
All right. Uphuma kuphi noZulu?
eJohnstone,
eNewcastle.
eNewcastle.
Emadadeni. Okay, kodwa amadada aseNewcastle angithi?
Yeah, eNewcastle.
Yeah, ngiyakwazi. Shout out to I'm Stan rapping, you know. God, yo. What's your question for our teacher in the studio?
Umbuzo wami uthi, what will be the charge of a sphere when it has made contact with another charged sphere?
Thank you very much for that question. So umbuzo angibuza wona uthi, what will the new charge on a sphere be after it's made contact with another charged sphere? So guys, before I go with anything, I'm going to tell you guys a little scenario and then I'm going to ask my viewers questions and then we're going to elaborate to this question. So first things first, atoms are actually made up of 3 things, right? They're made out of electrons, which have a negative charge. Then they're made out of protons with a positive charge and neutrons, which are neutral. So if you're going to rub things together, your electrons and they'll actually be donated or accepted by another particle. I think was my guest in studio. Have you ever tried or wondered, let's say a balloon, right? And you rub it against your hair, or a ruler and you rub it on the carpet, and then you put on your hair. What do you guys think will happen, and have you ever done it?
Yeah.
We have.
I think with rubber, like maybe ruler. Ama charges from your hair are transferred to, for me, to ruler.
Because your hair actually lifts up. I guess that's why the same thing with the balloon. So what that actually means, because your hair is a different type of material, and or let's say you're using the balloon, it's also a type of material. It has charges. So everything has got charges. It just takes certain materials and a certain type of force to actually ignite it. So the same thing. Let's say you've got your hair. Let's say it's got 10 electrons and 10 protons. Let's say your ruler has got 15 of whatever, and then you rub the ruler with or whatever to your hair, and then you actually lift it up. So what actually happens is because electrons you allow that are actually being able to be transferred, so the electrons are actually transferred to this ruler, and you send them a positive charge. So but because opposites attract, I'm just saying I'm a positive charges in the electrons that are negative are actually leaving your hair, and because opposites attract, the negative charges want to attract with the positive charges, and that's why your hair actually stands up. So your hair actually stands up because it's trying to fetch all the negative electrons that that are actually leaving your hair. Okay, but guys, you belong here, and but the ruler says, but I want them back, and that's why they actually move. So if I take a backtrack, guys, we are chemistry, right? If you look at your group 7 molecules, right? Let's say chlorine, for instance. It's in group 7, so it needs one more electron to complete the octet rule. So it has 7 soldiers behind it. So it'll rather look for one electron for it to become to be in group 8, a halogen, so that it's completed octet rule. It cannot accept or donate anymore. So what it does is says, okay, I'm going to look for electrons. So hydrogen, remember, hydrogen has got 1 to give away. It's got 1 electron to give away. So hydrogen only has 1 soldier, but chlorine has got 7 soldiers. So the 7 soldiers are working, they're attracting all this so that it completed octet rule. So it's the same thing when you're working with charges. There's a certain force or electronegativity that it will actually take place for your charges to be accepted or donated. That's why your hair will actually move up, and that's why the positive are saying, please come this side, we need you, and the other charge says, but my force of attraction is much more greater than yours, and that's why the hair actually moves up. So now let's go back to this question. So now we're dealing on spheres with some line. So now we need to know what we need to do to calculate a new charge on a sphere after they've made contact with each other. So a little bit of theory. So here we have the law of conservation of electrical charge. One thing to remember, guys, they'll say column A or column B, and they'll say match the law of conservation of electrical charge, or the law of momentum, or the principle of static electricity. So you need to know what fits where and what is what. Let's say you're moving over to this section and you're doing electrostatics, but state Coulomb's law or state the law of conservation of electric charge, and then question 1.1.2 will then deal with the different spheres. But I'm an explanation why, or I'm a proof, so you always remember certain words. Like charges cannot be accepted or created. Let me just go back. They cannot be created or accepted. So this is a fundamental thing that is actually needed. You cannot take an electron and break it apart or crush it. It can only be transferred or accepted. So this needs to be there. And it cannot be created or destroyed, but it's separate from one object to another. So make sure with this terminology is always there. Explain. Another thing, they might also say, prove that Coulomb's law is this and this and this. Now, I also advise you guys, write your proof, and then you prove it, and then say, in conclusion or therefore, because of what we've written there, the statement or the principle, I have proved this based on the statement or the principle. So this is very, very important. So moving on. So for example, if I've got 2 different spheres that are charged, I'll take my blue one as a positive, and I'll take my red one as a negative. And these spheres are like, okay, we're coming together and we're going to actually attract because they are opposite. This is a positive one and this is a negative one. Remember that opposites will always attract, and then the same ones, alike ones, will always repel from each other. So it comes with a certain charge. It has a certain charge gear, and then they move together and then they move apart. So now this is one thing that you guys need to remember. If you have your spheres that actually move together and move apart, look what actually happens. So they will always share the electrons or the charges, and they will always leave with the same amount of charge. So what happens is they share the charges, and then we can say they have the equal number of electrons and the equal number of protons. So it cannot accept or donate anymore because it's now shared. I've got a high electronegativity. Let's take chlorine again. It takes the hydrogen, and then its octet rule is now complete. It cannot accept, it cannot donate. With another group 8 molecule, it says, okay, but I'm so stiff right now, I can't give you anything and I can't accept more, so it's stagnant. So the same thing with these spheres. They actually meet and then they move apart, but they have the same charges because now they have shared equally amongst each other. So now must be able to, initially these 2 charges were actually attracted to each other because one was a positive, one was a negative. But after they make contact, because now they have the shared charges, we can say equal amount of electrons and protons, now they're going to repel each other because now they're going to have the same charge. So when will be a positive or will be a negative, and opposite charges repel. So in your exam papers, they might ask you, we have sphere, which is a 2 and a 6. Will they attract or repel after and before the collision? Oh, okay, so when it taught me this, because one is a positive, one is a negative, and opposites attract, this will be an attraction force towards the 2 spheres. But now, because now they have the same charge, so they either be a negative or a positive, or now they're going to repel because opposite charge, because the same charges repel. So now let's have one here. So now we need to calculate the new charge on a sphere that has been brought in contact with each other. So now I see Gutilene one is a positive and one is a negative. So another thing, guys, to remember, if you see one is a positive and a negative, there will always be a force of attraction. But if 2 ions are in negative, then it will always be a force of repulsion. Because we have sphere number A, which is a 2 and a positive 2, and this one has and let's say also a positive 4. Will this be a force of attraction or repulsion? Then because they're the same, it's a force of repulsion. Okay, now because it's a force of repulsion, repulsion. Within this one, how much charges is actually transferred or donated between the two, and this is what you'll actually use. So how you'll actually do this, you're going to use, always make sure that you use the same charge, so you use a 2 there, plus, and you have a -6. And then, now remember, because I've got two spheres that actually came to contact with one another and then they moved apart, I'm going to divide it by the same number of spheres that were actually present. But let's say I had 4 different spheres in, let's say, whatever atmosphere or dimension, and they came to contact with, now I need to calculate the amount of charge or electrons that were actually transferred or accepted by each sphere. Then I'm going to divide it by 4, because mind you, I've got 4 participants in this whole equation. So then, that's why I actually divide this by 2. And if you put this in your calculator, you find that each one has a 2C each. So that has a charge of 2 each. And this is how we actually found these 2 here. So now I'm going to a diagram like this and say state or prove how you actually got to the -2. This one is with magic. Okay, because they actually came to contact and moved apart, this has to be the after. Remember, my sense of momentum, we had a before and we had an after. The same thing must be in this section. So okay, because now they both are negative, what I need to do is actually find out which magic and after, and this is how I actually come to the -2 of each sphere separately. So another thing that they can ask, they say, from this information, calculate the net charge transfer from the +2 sphere. So now we're only dealing with one. Remember, we had one which was a +2 and one which was a -6. So I want to put my jege, then they moved apart. But now we need to ask ourselves, okay, if we're just dealing with the one sphere, we need to find out what the amount of electrons or charge it had before. We had an after. The same thing with momentum. Momentum before will give you momentum after. So now we have to check, okay, I had charges before this, and then there's charges after. So I need to find the net charge of this one sphere. So okay, for sphere number A, calculate the net charge of it, and for sphere B, calculate the net charge. So now you're looking for the before for the initial and the final one. And then remember, you always say your final minus initial. The same way, so when we did velocity, you always say final velocity minus your initial velocity, and the same thing with momentum. So now let's tackle this one. So you're going to use this formula, which is Q net. And then you can also write it as delta Q, which will have your Q final minus your Q initial. And then remember, the final one that we actually calculated was a -2, but my initial charge of this sphere was actually a +2. And if I put this in my calculator, I get a -4. So it means, okay, this poor little sphere had whatever it had, and then they shared and they transferred charges so that they can actually share them equally amongst each other, so that they can be like, okay, bro, I'm not accepting and I'm not taking anymore. But now we need to find the total number of charges that were accepted or donated, and this is the formula that you need to use. So okay, for these different spheres, calculate for A and for B. So let's say we name this sphere number A. So let's say now you have to calculate Q net, which will give you delta Q. Well, let's name this one B, and then you'll have again QF minus your QI, which will give you a -2 minus a +2. Let me just go back. We know that this one was a -6. This will be a -6 there. And then you'll find whatever answer. So then you have calculated for the first one and for the second one, based on how many charges was actually donated and transfers between them. So another question that they might say, they will say, now that we know the amount of charges transferred, we can use it to calculate the amount of electrons that were transferred. So electrons actually have a mass. So isn't just as but they actually have a negative force. An atom is actually made of protons, electrons, or neutrons, and electrons are the ones that are actually accepted or donated. Must not take a backtrack back to our periodic table. You will have your hydrogen, which will donate or accept the electron to actually make it in its octet rule. So the same thing with here. You have to actually calculate, must not charge, we know, okay, if this has a charge of this, how many electrons are actually present? Because the number of electrons will actually determine the attraction force or the repulsion force. So if you've got more electrons and less electrons here, it will be an attraction force. If you've got more electrons up and more electrons here, it will be a very big repulsion force. So your electrons will actually take part, must figure with charge. So this is what you'll actually do. So to get the number, I'm just going to say the number of, I'm going to put here for electrons. You can use your Q net, because now you know the final number of charges that were actually donated and transferred between the one sphere. Find the number of electrons in sphere A and sphere B. But in this case, I'm just doing sphere A. So now I know the previous answer that I got was a -4, and always make sure that you put your -4 like that. And then this, remember that a small q now is a constant, and it's a constant that they'll always give you. But I would say, ninga kremi, but know what it is, because they might say, let's say for instance, let's q is 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19. True or false, is q a constant of 1 times 6 to the negative 18? Then you're like, no, but we said it's 9 times 6 to the negative of 19, and ngoba when I saw ifundile angeba khona ukubamba. But without wasting any more time, then you're going to use a negative 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19. And you remember, you use a negative because electrons are actually have a negative charge. So that's why you use the negative 1.6 times 10 to the negative 19. And that is a constant that you guys need to know. They do give it to you, but I would safeguard, rather you guys know it. So if you put this in your calculator, you get 2.5 times 10 to the 19 electrons. So in this one sphere, it moved apart. We could find with the after reaction or the after number of charges within the one, and then we decided, okay, now we're going to find the number of charges that are actually accepted and donated. And then the last stage, what we did, okay, now we know it has this number of charges. How many electrons are actually in this charge? What is the attraction and repulsion force that this thing actually has based on the electrons that it has? And this is how you actually answer electrostatics, the number of charges or electrons in a sphere.
Nice one. Now let's see what you guys have to say on Facebook about today's lesson. Now I commented Lucinda Borman. Atiyala, so awesome. Thank you, Geleza Nathi, for helping me get my A's. I watch you every morning. Thank you so much, Lucinda, for watching us. It's time to take a quick commercial break. Let's wait. Niggas in Dallas Zombie, Team A, Team B, Mina. Geleza
Nathi.
Welcome back to Geleza Nathi right here at SABC 1. Mzansi for sure Geleza Nathi is on your screens every Monday to Friday 5 to 6 a.m. right here on SABC 1. Mzansi for sure ningalibali no thetha nathi kumajelo ethu omnatha, that is Facebook no Twitter, facebook.com/Geleza Nathi @GN_SABC1, and tell us which team you are rooting for, Team A or Team B. But I want to find out from you guys, which team are you guys rooting for, Team A or Team B?
Team A.
Team A, okay. Tobila, wena?
Let's take Team B here.
Team B.
Show them who's boss.
All right, sir. Asamen sobuthi kahle kahle one namhlanje uzobanqoba.
All right, Sebangena, St. George Khoza Secondary School. All right, cool. Let's find out who is in Team A and who is in Team B.
Dumelang, I go by the name of Thandegile Phahlane. I represent Team A, Sizoba Bonisa.
Dumelang, my name is Masako Tuletani. I'm representing Team A.
Nakalina ke no wa kompamba no ntso. Na ke representa Team A. Dula iko Topson B.
Hi, Nakalibitswe ke Vanessa Matlala, representer Team B.
Hi everybody, my name is Bonolo Paswana. Nak representa Team B. Re tlo fahlasa Team A.
Hello, my name is Lungile Mflongo. I'm representing Team B. Sonshaya.
It's time to meet the rules. Someone the rules of the game.
This is not a horror movie, but it might be for the losing team. It's time for GN Jigsaw. Now it's simple. Each team will start the game outside a line of 4 hula hoops. Both teams are given the opportunity to answer the same question, and a correct answer gets them into the next hula hoop, where they will pick up a bag with pieces of the GN Jigsaw puzzle. Now when a team makes it to the other side of the last hoop, they get a chance to construct the Geleza Nathi logo with all the pieces that they have collected along the way. First team to construct the GN logo walks away with their lives. No, Ngadlala, it's just victory, but the loser will be left in pieces. Asdaleni.
Sure, Team A, are you ready?
Yep.
Yes.
Team B, are you ready?
Yes, of course.
Step into the first hula hoop, Ozan Sangenela. No, yeah. Your first question is, like charges will attract or repel each other. Which one is it? Ama like charges. Ama charges are funny. Will they attract or will they repel one another? They are washing. Repel. Okay, repel is the correct answer. Congratulations, Asan. All right, your next question is, after charged spheres have made contact, will they attract or repel each other? After charged spheres have made contact, will they attract or repel each other? There's another answer. What's it? Repel. Repel. Hey. Congratulations, that's the correct answer. Hey. The next question is, how do you convert microcoulombs to coulombs? How do you convert microcoulombs 2 coulombs. Divide by 1 million. Divide by 1 million. Had to count the zeros to be sure. That is the correct answer. Congratulations, Sunday. Your next question is, which law states that the force is directly proportional to the product of the two charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them? Which law states that the force is directly proportional to the product of the two charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them? Which law? Please reveal your answers right now. What's in first?
Coulomb's law.
Coulomb's law.
Yes.
That is correct. Congratulations. Start setting up your puzzles now. First team to finish. Ziyangqeda lezi. Buku uthi ukuphi? Hleli la. No one knows what they're doing here. No one. Do you know how to spell Geleza?
Yeah. It's Geleza. Yeah, something. Yeah.
What is this supposed to be? Yes, Team B is making good headway la. Sebewufakile uZanathi, sekushoda ukuthi befaka uGeleza. Team A is making headway futhi manje. Team A is now once again in front of Pombil.
Yeah.
Awufake ngani lo piece la? Hey, you guys.
No, there's no pissing.
Ipushe kanyani.
Congratulations, Team A. Yes, why do people? I guess I just love Geleza Nathi so much. I can do this in my sleep. You don't have to do it in your sleep, though. I hope you're wide awake. It is 5 to 6 a.m. Monday to Friday.
Nice one. Congratulations to Team A. Guys, your predictions were correct. Congratulations. And unfortunately, Tobile had to drag me into the losing team. Marawai, so. Anywho, let's see what you guys, or rather, let's recap on our poll question. Viewer question, rather, have more time. Now, what do you do to save water in your life daily? And here's what you guys had to say on Facebook. Now, comment Kamo clearance, big boy. As I always bath with enough water. And when I plug in a kettle, I use the amount that I will need. Very, very nice. Comment Kamago Jeremiah. Hope I'm saying that correctly. I limit the amount of time I shower. Very, very nice. Keep those comments coming on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Facebook.com/Geleza Nathi @GN_SABC1. Right now, though, let's get right back into learning and get our second learner question for the day.
Sure, we're still here at George Khoza Secondary School at Dobsonville. It's kunjani?
Yaphila wena.
Andiphilile man. Khawuxelela abantu ekhaya uba wena ngubani wakubani ongubani.
Yimuthembi wakwaSeku ngihlala eDobsonville block 7.
Thembi wakwaSeku?
Yes.
Is that Xhosa?
Ewe.
Hawu ngathi umZulu nje.
NdingumXhosa.
Kuphi ekhaya indabuka ikuphi?
Emthatha.
Emthatha?
Yes.
Yo, shout out to all my people's Emthatha. Nice cameras you've got there. What is your question for our teacher in the studio?
How do you apply Coulomb's law to calculate the force?
Ngiyabonga kakhulu for umbuzo wakho Thembi. So umbuzo angibuza wona Thembi uthi, how do I apply Coulomb's law to calculate a force? So Coulomb is one of the guys job in the learner question round about static electricity. But there's charges that actually flow the same way Einstein saw the apple fall and actually figured out gravitational acceleration. There's something that actually happens here. And based on the number of charges that an object or objects actually acquire, we're able to know or figure out the attraction and repulsion force. So let's say here I've got identical ones. Within the different charges that they have, we are able to calculate the repulsion force between the two. So this one can have a 6 nanocoulomb or 8 nanocoulomb, and we can say the force of repulsion between these two will be this and this, based on the number of charges that each one has. Or even a quantum, let's say you have a positive and a negative, and then Coulomb teaches us, you can actually find the force of attraction between the two. The same way a chlorine will actually attract a hydrogen molecule, which, okay, but I need you to complete my octet rule, and that is the force of attraction or electronegativity that brings the electron towards the hydrogen to complete its octet rule. That is the force. So Coulomb does the same thing with between two spheres or identical objects or non-identical objects. There's a different number of charges between them, and the force of attraction between them can be calculated. So let's see how Coulomb actually calculates this. So before ngena kulogo, now let's just look at a bit of theory, a bit of terminology in your past papers, and this, guys, is very easy marks. So yokuqala says it's Coulomb's law. So it says that the force exerted between two charges is directly proportional to the product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the charges. So this, in simple matter, this equation here, who talks about static electricity or static charges, which will be question 1, then you'll say Coulomb, and they'll say state Coulomb's law, then you can state Coulomb's law, and they'll say give us a formula that actually predicts or stipulates Coulomb's law, and this is the formula that you'll say. Whose formula does this belong to, and what, let's say, aspect in physics do they talk about? So it's Coulomb, and he talks about static electricity, and they'll say from this formula, actually describe or elaborate what Coulomb is trying to say. Then you're going to say, okay, I see that the force is directly proportional to Q1 and Q2, which is the different spheres, and it's inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. That's why you have an R squared. So that, remember, it's directly proportional, but it's inversely proportional going down. So if I had to like redraw this, I'll be K. Remember, K is your constant, Q1 and Q2, and R squared. So this is directly proportional there, but it's inversely proportional to this. Directly proportional meaning if force so does the spheres, the charges of the spheres, but when your force goes down, it is inversely proportional is the other way around. So now, more theory says that when substituting values into this formula, you do not use your positive and your negative signs, but at the end, is this a force of attraction and is this a force of repulsion? So if I just go back to my different spheres, if both of them have a positive nanocoulomb or let's say microcoulomb between the two, then you'll know, okay, because they're both positive or they're both negative, this will be a force of repulsion. But if you're using, let's say, maybe a negative and a positive, you know, a negative and a positive opposite actually attract, you know, this will be a force of attraction. So we are going to your final answer based on the question that they actually give you. Physics has all your answers right in front of you. So let's actually now go into an example. So the first example, we have a P and a T. We have a sphere P and T, which has a 4 nanocoulomb and 8 nanocoulomb. And then remember, guys, there has to be a light bulb that goes in your mind. You have nanocoulomb, which means it has to be 10 times, it's 1 times 10 to the power of something. They might say it's a microcoulomb, they might say it's a microcoulomb, or they might say it's a tetracoulomb, whatever. So you need to know your conversion factors to actually move from a nano, a micro, a kilo, a mega to actually a coulomb. So now it says, respectively, they're placed at a distance of 200 centimeters. So then again, the distance of attraction and repulsion between two things is actually very important, and it's a fundamental of your formula. So you need to know with Manjage, this distance, it's going to be attracted, your attractor, how fast, or the repulsion between the two is going to be how strong. So another thing, they can give you the force and the different charges of the spheres, and they say calculate the distance between them. Then with this distance said, was this distance far apart or close together, and was the attraction or repulsion strong or weak? So this is why this is very important. And then again, because the SI unit for distance, when we're dealing in physics, has to be in meters, you need to convert centimeters into meters. So then again, back to, you need to know your conversion factors of how to move from centimeters to meters. In this case, you're going to divide it by 100. So now I need to calculate the magnitude and direction of the force exerted by each sphere on each other. So this is how now we're going to tackle this. So now we need to find the force, which is this sphere and this sphere, the force between the two of attraction or repulsion between each other. So this is how you actually answer it. So you'll have F. Remember that K is a constant, and I would always say know this constant because they might just try to catch you out between them. And then the constant for K is 9 times 10 to the power of 9. It is on your formula sheet though, but I would always say rather know. They might switch K and Q around, and they'll say match column A and column B. Then you need to know the constant for a K and the constant for the small letter Q. So then I know I'm going to put the charges for this. I know this one was 4 times 10 to the nanocoulomb. And then for the second one was 8 times 10 to the negative 9 because it's a nanocoulomb. Remember, if it was a kilocoulomb, a microcoulomb, it would be 10 times 10. It will be times 10 to the negative 6, times 10 to the negative 3, or times 10 to the negative 12, depending on what it is. So you need to know that. So now if you're going to actually put this in your calculator, wait, remember the square between them, this was a 200. I changed centimeters to meters by dividing that by 100. And this is a square between them. And then my final answer, I'm just going to write the equal sign there, then that'll give you a 2 to the square. And then you'll find, let me just take that away. So your final answer for this thing will be 7.2 times 10 to the negative 8 newtons. And this is the force of attraction. This is the force of attraction between the two. So this is the force of attraction between sphere. You can also say sphere P and T. So just to elaborate further on this one, so you know that the force of Q1 and Q2 is this, right? So what this means with Manjege, I have this one and this one that is actually attracting each other at this one, but in opposite direction. So this one is coming from my left, this one's coming from the right. So instead of actually having a negative answer, let's say when we did momentum, I said something will come from the opposite direction. One will come from the left and to the right. And if your answer is a negative, you just get rid of the negative by giving it direction. So you'll say it's negative 1.4 meters per second to the left because that's the direction of travel. Must figure into the side. You don't have to put your negative, but you can say it's in the opposite direction, or you can just say, if I go back to these notes here, you can say at the end, state whether it is an attraction or a repulsion force. And when we go back to this one, they might actually say, link this to Newton's third law, because Newton's third law actually also deals with this part and parcel of electrostatics. So they might say, based on what Coulomb law is saying on force, let's say, link this to Newton's third law. Then you guys know Newton's third law, and then you just elaborate on Newton's third law and say, because Newton says this and Coulomb says this, this is what I actually come up with. And this is how you actually use Coulomb's law to calculate the force with different spheres that come, or whether attract or repulsion from each other.
Thank you so much for that interesting lesson. Now let's see what you guys have to say on Facebook. But Tobile's lesson 9 coming in Kamaguyo and Kamagumapitsi Nkosazane. I see the show was on fire. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching Geleza Nathi right now though. Quick commercial break this way. Dolo City. This match was particularly good for you.
Geleza Nathi.
Welcome back to your only entertainment breakfast show. Ngulumangan mayo Geleza Nathi right here on SABC 1 Mzansi for show. But betu ngalibala uthetha nathi kumakhasi ethu onxibelelwano, that is on Facebook no Twitter, facebook.com/Geleza Nathi at GN_SABC1. Next is Matt. What's good for us today?
Hey everybody, welcome to it. It's Tuesday morning, and as you know, it is me, Usis Matt Konolapo, good for you. Now, as you know, we're focusing on putting the life into life orientation. So we're going to be talking about things that you may not have touched on in your life orientation classes. So you know what we do. We took the GN cam to the streets to find out what you guys think about applying for a driver's license. So let's check out what you had to say.
You have to be over 18 and you should know how to drive.
In order for you to get a license, you must pass your learners.
The first thing is that you must know how to drive. Thank you.
All right, guys. All right, so we're talking about applying for a driver's license, and most people are kind of like, I can't wait until I get one, and I can't wait until I learn how to drive. So that's absolutely perfect, but remember, you have to follow the steps. So the first thing that you have to do is actually write a learner's license test, which will give you a license so that you can learn how to drive. So basically, what I mean is, what you have to do is take your ID to the nearest licensing department so that you can register for the K53 test. Now, in this test, basically, they teach you about the road. You're going to learn road signs, you're going to learn what you can and can't do on the road. This is stuff you're going to learn in theory. And while you're there, you're also going to do an eye test, because obviously people need to make sure that you can see oncoming traffic. You need to be sure that you can see what's happening on the road in front of you. So that's what you'll do. You'll write the test and then you'll do your eye test as well. Once you've passed your learner's license, then you get a learner's license, which means that you can now go onto the road and learn how to drive practically. So you'll be behind the steering wheel, you'll go to the stop signs and stops, you'll parallel park, and you'll do all of that jazz. And then when you're done with that, when you're feeling like, okay, I've got this, I know what I'm doing, then you go back to the licensing department and do your actual driver's test, which means then you will get your license if you pass. If you do fail, however, you may have to go back a couple of times, because, you know, driving is difficult and it's not something that you get like this. You do have to practice, but do remember, guys, if you're going to get your driver's license, you don't just get into a car and just start driving. You have to start from the beginning. You have to make sure that you do K53 first, learn the rules of the road, learn what you can and cannot do onto the road, and then you'll progress onto there. So that's all from you guys. I hope that was helpful. And remember, when you guys are driving and you see me in the streets, be like, Sis Mad, come get a lift. I'll be sure to get in. That's all from you guys. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Nice one. Sibonga kakhulu lapho weso Smith. Now Tobile ithini homework question yethu namhlanje.
So guys, the homework question in namhlanje says 2 metal spheres charged 6 nanocoulomb and 7 nanocoulomb are placed 20 centimeters apart. You need to calculate the magnitude and direction of this force, obviously using Coulomb's law. So guys, catch me tonight on Facebook from 7 to 8, and you can ask me any other questions regarding Logo Sekwenzile, Lana Siyakhona, and based on today's lesson.
7 to 8 is a date, don't be late. Okwamanje, asabe nsothi goodbye, bye. Kwisikole sethu namhlanje.
All right, shout out to the principal, Walai George Khoza Secondary School at Dobsonville, Soweto. It was a great time I had. Team B, shame. Hard, innit?
Whatever.
So cool, man, game. All right. Babonile ntana bedliwa?
Angibabonile.
Bashayiwe la.
Eish, abashayiwe.
Did you have fun?
Yes.
What was your favorite part of the game?
Puzzle one.
One you were very bad at. All right. Congratulations to Team A. They emerged victorious. Thank you so much for tuning in. Kamalamos Pamandla Mhlango, aka Maraza. Sekhateng namhlanje. Lapho sazenzobe se-Eastern Cape. Next week Kapalo Dumo. You never know. Keep your eyes peeled and your alarm on for 5 to 6 a.m. Other than that, your exams are coming up. Mangabe ufuna ukuphatha. Keep watching. Geleza Nathi.
Nice one, bekumnandi impela la ku Geleza Nathi. Now bafethu any quick shout outs ngiqale ngaso swami.
Shout out to all my friends at school. Now umuntu ongaziyo ngiyabonga.
All right.
Shout out to my friends and to everyone who knows me.
Nice one. Now bafethu ngakhohle ukuthi Geleza Nathi yabuya futhi kusasa 5 to 6 a.m. with another spectacular English FAL lesson with Uthandeka Miss Tusi, and of course discussion yakusasa ke kuzoba mnandi kakhulu. Lapha kahlala phansi unethezeka wenza sure ukuthi ke you join us on Facebook and on Twitter uthi uthona ucabangani. Facebook.com/Geleza Nathi GN_SABC1. Did you guys have a good time?
Yeah.
Yes. No, maybe don't buy face. Come on, guys. Don't just what we namhlanje.
Oh, ngifunde kakhulu ngama electrostatics ukuthi opposite charges they attract such.
Nice one. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, for coming through. Thank you so much for those awesome lessons. Thank you so much to you. It's goodbye and have a spectacular day. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we sound. Hey. It's 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. Mondays to Fridays. Hey. What's good for you today, man? Look, I got a lot of books, I'm stacking paper. Trying to be an accountant, stacking paper. Geographical mind, I'm smashing craters. And Geleza Nathi got my bag, yeah, it's major. Every morning when I wake, it's on. There's a world waiting to be taken on. Brings a funda till the break of dawn, but then...